One practice that I like to play with is the directions of yes and no. In my experience, the fundamentals of the doer and the small s self come from yes and no directions. And I think of yes and no directions like a spectrum of intensity. Yes, moving forward or outward. No, moving backward or inward, depending on how you see it. And it's fun to play with it in the Cartesian, forward, backward, or the polar, outward or inward coordinate systems. And what this does for me is it helps me to see in what ways am I lunging, which is a somatic way to consider attaching to something. So in my meditation today, I felt myself lunging to say no to the monkey mind. But the monkey mind was just happening. It was just part of it. So there was this kind of new equilibrium finding itself within the doership of what I expect of myself and my experience and what's actually happening. And the yes and no energies were kind of like, okay, finding that spot where things are just still, even with movement, stillness and movement. I think it's interesting to consider how this shows up in the moment-to-moment interaction socially. When someone wants attention or when I want attention, there's a certain yes occurring. And in a way it's asking for permission. It's asking, can you attend to me? Can I attend to you? And there's this consent-like intention that occurs. Yes, no. Where it becomes muddled is when, say I want attention and I ask for it, but the person who's giving it to me is lunging to give it to me. And so then we can kind of explore that. What is giving rise for you to feel like you must give me attention, even when you yourself are not wanting to? So then we can kind of explore that direction, this forwardness within this space. Where is there a sense of tension? Where is there a somatic feeling, felt sense that there is something pulling me here, even when I want to be saying more, no, I'm good for now. The intention of backward. And this is much like the ocean. It's tide, ebb and flow, instead of a forever going to be this way, forever going to be that way. It feels more like an ongoing process of processing of experience. That the map of this yes and no somatic, psychosomatic experience can help elucidate. This is something that is naturally occurring and can be interesting to explore. So, even as I'm speaking, I'm noticing when my yeses and nos are kind of working together. They are helping me to feel that central channel alignment, which is a psychosomatic map of feeling within the flow or attuned to the source, with the various degrees of what that means. When it comes to speaking in particular, it's a constant unfolding of this dynamic process. And when I feel something tightening up, I can explore within my body, within the content of what I'm talking about. Why is this tight? Exploring the underlying core for the underlying feeling, perhaps, of why I am continuing to move in such a way when it doesn't feel good to me. And this interplay of self and other is interesting. What I'm speaking of right now is much of a self-oriented processing, that what feels good to me may be unfairly labeled as narcissistic or selfish within our collective and conscious culture. Tasshin talks about this as self-orienting within his empowerment book. This is not selfish in the way I see it. It's orienting to self just like I might orient to another. And self and other have their own dynamic interplay. There may be more yeses someday to orienting to another person. And other days more orienting to myself. So the helpful thing here to do is the helpful thing here for me is to just be in psychosomatic awareness of my alignment and unalignment, or my resonance and my dissonance. It's been interesting building this embodied language for my psychosomatic mappings, my yeses. What's that like? What's it like when I'm saying yes to self-orienting? What's it like when I say yes to other orienting? in this case, just trying that thought experiment out, or that simulation, psychosomatic simulation, it's a lot easier for me to say yes to other orienting. I think this is a common narrative in my circles of service workers, helpers, healers, that we tend to the needs of others. It's enjoyable for us. So we can explore why, not pathologizing it. A knot is not necessarily a harmful thing. The fact that I am here as a being indicates that awareness source has created the kind of knot, a kind of patterning for there to be a Michael. And getting to know my patterns, getting to know my knots, the ones that stick around, shape how I show up in the world, and the ones that don't stick around are, well, seeding clarity. And at the same time, there are no knots. I'm paying homage to Ramana Maharshi, who speaks of source with kind of grace, consistency. Nothing is separate from source. Source itself is not knotted. It simply is. So, and there are helpful ways to think about things.